Welcome back to Absolutely the Best Podcast, a work in progress. I'm Zach, and with me today is my good friend George.
Hey.
This is Series 1, Episode 29. Is that right? 29? Yeah. And today we are talking about Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings from September 3rd, 2021. After we discuss the movie, we'll figure out where to place it in our MCU movie ranking and our mission to figure out which one is absolutely the best. As a reminder, we assume the listener has seen the movie before, and of course, there will be spoilers, and I would recommend watching this one if you haven't seen it yet. I have some old business to cover first.
Go for it.
This is going to be a little bit of a surprise for you, maybe. I was looking for a Black Widow clip that showed the flashback of Natasha and Melina where they switch suits and they make a plan to go on the Red Room. They're already on the Red Room in the movie, then they have the flashback where they're planning that out. In the process of looking for that, I accidentally found a Captain America, the Winter Soldier deleted scene in which Nick Fury gives Natasha a little case, and on the case it says photostatic veil.
Oh.
I had not seen that before.
I've never seen that.
Me either. So unless somebody, I guess it could have been AI. I don't know, but I'd never seen that before. It's like, oh, there's a little case. That was exactly the change that we had proposed.
About seeing, where did that come from?
Yeah, exactly. Because it kind of came out of nowhere. So I don't know why they cut that out. So I thought that was interesting. But then also, when I found the clip that I was looking for, there's two very obvious shots of photostatic veils hanging up in the closet at Melina's place. Look at this.
Oh, right there, yeah.
There's two right there by Natasha, and then Melina's over there later on, and from that angle, you can only see one of them. Never picked up on that before.
Wait, did you know that when you saw that, when you were rewatching this?
When I was trying to put together a clip, like a short for the YouTube stuff, I found the clip I was looking for, like that's in the movie.
Yeah.
And just, I guess I'd never looked that closely before. And I was like, oh, they are right there.
Right, yeah.
So that
the whole time it was right there.
Yeah, that was one of my minor quibbles in that movie. It was like, it would have been nice to have a reminder of the photostatic veil before they made use of it.
Right next to the submachine guns.
That's right. So doesn't change my ranking at all, but I thought it was interesting. Little resolution to that. While we are not doing Shang-Chi just yet, let's talk about email. We got an email from Majors again. He sent an email after he had started the Lucy episode, but he turned it off after about 20 minutes, he said, so he could go rewatch the movie. I guess he likes it. I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know why you do that to yourself.
The episode wasn't a warning enough.
I guess not. Well, I mean, he stands by it. We'll get to that. But he I guess we broke the news to him about Luc Besson being a piece of crap. He said, it's hard to hear that your heroes aren't what you thought they were. So, my apologies to have to break that news to you. Maybe we need a spoiler alert for when we're about to shit all over someone's reputation.
We need like a Wikipedia page for a few people that we've already shit on.
I mean, that's where I usually get it from anyway. None of our shitting upon is unsubstantiated, though.
True.
So Majors, being a prolific and detailed note taker, had a lot to say. So here's a few items of interest that I wanted to address on the show. He said that he appreciates Luc Besson's cinematography regardless of the issues around his personal life, and I totally get that. I have no plans to not watch The Professional or The Fifth Element or La Femme Nikita ever again.
Right.
I will continue to watch and enjoy those movies. Majors also suggested an even earlier Besson film called Subway. I hadn't heard of that. Have you heard of that one?
I don't think I've heard of that one.
I don't think it was his first one, but it was significantly earlier. Major said it might be too avant-garde for a U.S. audience, though, which kind of makes me want to check it out even more.
Right.
But I might give up on it. So I give up on things pretty easily these days. But he said, when it comes to Lucy, he says, it seems Luc Besson holds stylish looks and cool action over logic and story. And I agree with that. That doesn't do it for me, though.
Is he like a French Zack Snyder then?
Actually, I think somewhere in our exchange we also shit upon Zack Snyder.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, that's not fair because Luc Besson's got some really good movies.
Yeah, he's got several good movies. Yeah. So let's see. What did he say? He said, "Remember, I'm the fool that still gets teary-eyed at Armageddon. I know it's Hollywood trash, but I still enjoy it for the bombasticness."
I too am a fool if that's a qualification because I was very saddened in that movie towards the end.
So, all right, to be fair, I think I only ever saw it once, and it was
Right.
late at night, and I'd been drinking, so I don't remember it that well. But have we trashed that movie really badly? I don't.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'm sure
I love that movie. I mean, that movie has its issues, but
I'm sure I would have a ton of science gripes, but I don't. I'm not currently actively hating it.
Have you heard that story about Armageddon, where Ben Affleck supposedly told Michael Bay, "Why would you send oil drillers?"
Oh yeah, yes. And Michael Bay told him to shut the fuck up or something.
Yeah.
I think he talks about that in the commentary.
Yeah.
Which I think that's the only part of the commentary I know because I have not watched it with the commentary. Anyways,
that always cracks me up when I hear about it.
Yeah. Also, there's no shame in emoting at movies. I'm constantly surprised at what gets me. There was a couple in Shang-Chi actually, but feel your feelings. It's fine.
Was it the part where your dad trained you to be a lethal assassin?
Yes, I could relate. Let's see. He said that he had the same thought as you did about the sperm at the end of the time travel montage at the end of Lucy.
Okay.
So
it wasn't just me.
Yeah. I would have said it was just you, but I guess not. And he also said that he still had fun listening to us rag on it, even though he enjoyed the movie on his rewatch. He says, "Agree to disagree. We can still be friends." And I say, agree to disagree. Still friends. Lastly, he says, "It's hard to say if I like the show more when you love a movie or hate it." Shrug emoji. Guess that's a sign of good podcasting. So I also don't know which is better. I certainly prefer the preparation for movies that we like, but when we hate it is an awful lot of fun doing the episode.
It's fun because we want the pain from the rewatching to mean something.
Yes. Yeah, we got to get something out of it.
So the details matter.
So that wraps up the Majors email corner. Do you want to get right to Shang-Chi, or do you have time for one more?
One more.
Okay. Let's talk about the Daredevil Born Again trailer.
Oh, God. That was such a... Thank you for sending that to me just before back-to-back meetings.
Were those the longest meetings of your life?
They were painful. It was painful to wait for it because I just really wanted to see it, especially because you were like, I think it was you that was like, "Holy shit" or something when you posted it.
Yeah, I might have said something on a positive note.
It was positive because I don't remember you voicing anything positive about the original show.
I liked the first season that I watched, but I don't like.
Okay.
I don't like Foggy, and I never finished it. I don't know if I started the second season or not. It was one of those where I feel like it could have been a couple episodes shorter and a little tighter, but this looks sick, man. I mean, I love I think the thing that I noticed right off the bat, well, I guess not right off the bat because it's like 2/3 of the way through the trailer, but when they get to all the bone breaks and it's like, it's like really graphic. And then you see that Disney Plus logo in the corner. That made me laugh.
Oh, I thought it animated into like a sad face I didn't see it.
And then I love that Frank Castle is in it. I hope he's in it for more than, a quick cameo.
Yes. Shane is such a good Frank Castle.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Was there any crossover between them and either of their series before?
Yeah. They're in the Defender also.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
Was it the last season of Daredevil? I feel like there was, because I think Karen Page had a thing for Frank Castle too.
Yeah. Maybe I did see that because I feel like I remember that. She was in something. She was in some other show at some point.
She was really good. I'm glad that they're bringing her back.
Yes,
Because I think it looked like she wasn't going to be joining them for a bit for some reason.
So that brings me to my one complaint, because I had heard that the guy who played Foggy, Eldon Henson, I heard that he was not coming back, and I was like, yay, because I don't like him.
Oh man, I don't see why you don't like him.
I just don't like his face. I don't like him. Like, that's totally uncalled for. I don't know. Like, that's not right of me at all. If this gets back to Eldon Henson, I'm sorry, that's not very nice of me. But I don't like him.
So not a Mighty Ducks fan, wasn't he?
I never watched it. Was he like one of the kids in it?
Yeah.
No, he's probably less annoying as a kid. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna stop trashing this guy. I do feel bad.
He's like the nicest guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just don't like him. Anyways, so that was anything else on Daredevil Born Again for you?
Yeah. Now I'm trying to figure out if there's somebody who I don't like as an actor or actress for like no real reason.
Zack Snyder.
I mean, that one.
Well, he's
that
a director.
Was totally
that
called for. That's a well-documented case.
So I did want to point out one more thing. It's almost Chinese New Year while we're recording. I mean, it's 2 weeks away. But when this drops, it'll be a couple days after. Chinese New Year is January 29th.
I got the Lego lantern.
Yeah, so did I. And I can't get my kids to put it together. So I'm going to have to do it myself, I guess. Which is
so did you get the lucky earrings or the lucky knot that came with it from the Lego store?
Was it in the box or was it separate? Like a bonus?
Should have been separate.
I did not.
Because I got the Marvel logo and that together
at the same time. So you probably hit like some. It probably had to be like over $100 or something. I think the Marvel thing was like $99. So I just missed it.
Oh yeah, you're just whatever.
Short. Yeah. But anyways, I wanted to say, a belated Gong Hei Fat Choi Sunin Phai Lok and whatever the Mandarin equivalent is.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nicely done, man. I don't even know if that's right. If that's right, or if you said it right or not. But
I probably didn't say it right. But I've been with a Chinese woman and her family for 23 years almost now. 24 years almost. Yeah.
Wow.
So I've had a little bit of practice. And the kids will go around saying that now too. They like it. So let's get into Shang-Chi and let's start with our movie memories. And do you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, I'll go first because I'm always jealous that you have such strong memories of these movies. I only remember, I have like impressions of what I feel like I remember. And I just remember being really, really excited for this because in the Asian community, there was a very big like, oh shit, like this is our MCU movie.
Yeah.
Like our chance at like, like a cultural touchstone in the MCU. And yeah, it delivered. I was actually not expecting too much from it because Shang-Chi, he's a little bit cooler than the Iron Fist, but without the fist.
I've heard that the comics, especially the earlier ones, were a bit problematic as well.
Yeah. So I was very, I was excited for it, but I was trying to temper my expectations. That's what I remember most about my feelings for it.
All right. I don't remember what my expectation was. My wife definitely wanted to see it, so I definitely saw it with her. I was familiar with Simu Liu from that Kim's Convenience. Like Canadian sitcom. Yeah, that's a really good series. I think that one was one that they like wrapped up. It didn't get canceled. It's something like, I don't know. It's probably like six seasons, 5 seasons.
It kind of got canceled. What I thought.
But maybe they were canceling it and they were able to wrap it up in the end or something like that. But yeah, we watched all that. That was pretty good. And let's see. I remember from the first watch of this, I remember loving that first fight on the bus, and I still think it's the best part of the movie. I'm not shitting on the rest of the movie. I like the whole thing, but I do remember kind of being disappointed with the third act, and really more like the second half. If you look at the timestamps, as I finally did this time, I didn't expect it to get so mystical with dragons and demons and stuff. And
the dragons part caught me off guard.
Yeah, and I think if I had known that going in, I would have enjoyed it more the first time. Every time I watch it, I like it more. And again, I don't think it's a bad movie. I like it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious to get to the ranking. So
It's the science and then magic and then mystics
yeah,
and
we
supernatural.
know I'm not huge on magic.
Yeah.
So, but like on this rewatch, several times I was like, I don't know why I didn't expect it because it's all laid out for you early on.
Right.
So we will get to those points when we get to them. I had one quick disclaimer before we start discussing the movie.
Oh.
In true white guy form, I'm really bad at Chinese pronunciations, as I have previously demonstrated. And there's plenty of Chinese here. The Chinese languages have all these inflections, and some of them are very subtle. For example, take the word ma, and Mandarin, which is what they speak in this movie. There's 4 tones. So you have ma, which means mother, ma, which is hemp, ma, which is horse, and ma, which is scold.
Ma, 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 ma.
So there's like 4 very subtle different ways you can say a word. It means 4 totally different things. And there's like a 5th tone that if you're doing 2-syllable words, it's all beyond my comprehension. But anyways,
how'd you learn this?
Well, it's the same thing in Cantonese. I was just using this word in Mandarin because that was when I found a good example of anyway. But I've learned just a tiny bit of Cantonese, and my mother-in-law will try to teach me things, and then I'm like, am I saying it correctly? Like, so when you ask a question in English, you naturally inflect up at the end. So if that's not how the word is supposed to be accented, then you are saying the wrong word. So
right.
It's really just difficult for me. And she totally mocks my pronunciation all the time.
Is your wife really fluent too?
No.
Okay.
She understands a lot, speaks some, but like when we were in Chinatown trying to, we were trying to get like invitations for our wedding. This is way back in the early 2000s. We were in Chinatown and she'd be talking to the shop owners in Cantonese, and they'd just start talking to her in English because her Cantonese was so bad.
They're like,
they'd be like annoyed with her. Yeah. So but she understands it, and my mother-in-law will speak it at her quite a bit. So apologies in advance if I murder all the pronunciations in this episode.
That goes double for me because I didn't even know this stuff that you just said.
Okay, so that kind of answers the question. I was like, do you speak Tagalog, first of all?
I can get by.
Okay, but
I can fake a very heavy Taglish accent.
Nice.
But I know enough to understand what I'm hearing. Mm-hmm. If you asked me to read Tagalog, I wouldn't be able to do it without like banging my head.
Okay, so it sounds like the Tagalog doesn't have the different accents then.
Not as much. No,
okay.
No.
Yeah. So a little bit. Anyways, or inflections, I mean, not accents. But anyways. All right, well, let's actually get into the movie now.
All righty.
Talk about a little bit about who made it. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is the 25th movie in the MCU series. It was written by Dave Callahan, Andrew Lanham, and Destin Daniel Cretton. They all sound white, but 2 of them are at least half Asian. I guess Lanham is not. Callahan has written a bunch of stuff, mostly not good in my opinion. He wrote Doom and like Wonder Woman 1984, for example.
Doom, like the one that The Rock was in?
Yeah.
The video game.
Yeah, which is not as bad as I had heard it was, but it's not very good.
What's his face?
Oh, yeah.
Des and Troy.
Yeah. Shit, now I can't think of his name.
I'm blanking too. That's why I went Des and Troy.
I can see his face.
The Judge Dredd.
Yeah, I know.
The boys.
That's why it's really bothering me now. Carl Urban.
That's right.
I'll be able to sleep tonight. So Cretton and Lanham worked together a lot. Cretton also directed this, so I'll talk more about him in a minute. Mm-hmm. Lanham did a handful of things that I mostly don't know. The one that I did recognize was Just Mercy with somebody else whose name I'm going to forget right now, from Black Panther, the bad guy.
Oh, Michael B. Jordan.
Thank you. Yes. I'm very good at podcasting about movies. So it was, as I said, it was directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. Like Lanham, since they worked together, I only know Just Mercy besides Shang-Chi. He went to school in San Diego, though, which is where I'm at now. Kind of doxing myself, but I thought that was interesting. I didn't know that. San Diego is a big place. I'm sure I've mentioned it before. The main characters, we have Simu Liu as Shu Shang-Chi, or Sean is his American name. I like him in this, but he seems a bit like he can't believe that he's in a Marvel movie sometimes. You know what I mean?
Which actually works, right? Because it's about a guy that is sort of uncovering all of this power that he inherently has in him.
Yeah, all right. So maybe that's it. Maybe he's a better actor than I'm giving him credit for here. And I don't think he's a bad actor. I really did enjoy him in this, but I got a little bit of a I'm trying my best vibe from him. His fighting is really great for sure.
Yeah.
We have Aquafina as Katie. I only knew her from Crazy Rich Asians, I think.
Yeah.
I generally like her, and I usually find her funny. I kind of didn't think that her comedy held up here on rewatch. I didn't like it as much as I remembered. I blame the writers for not having better jokes. I feel like she gave it 100%, but and I wouldn't want to see her replaced in a sequel. You know, if they do another one, I want to see her in it. I'm not really complaining about her, but sorry, you're making a face.
No, I was just thinking, I think she's my version of what we were saying earlier about, I'm not really sure. I've never really, she's great in Crazy Rich Asians.
Mm-hmm.
She was great there, but I don't know that I really like her in many things. I think I liked her as the dragon in Raya.
I didn't see that.
But I hear she's great in that Nora TV show she's in, but I haven't seen that either.
Oh, her real name is Nora. Is it like about her life?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I hadn't heard of that. Yeah. I might have to check it out.
But yeah, in general, I don't know that I've liked many of her roles, but she's okay-ish in this for me. To your point, she's not as funny as I feel like she's supposed to be as in this.
I remember her being funnier, and then on this last rewatch, I was just like, that joke's a C+. So, but again, I'm assuming she didn't ad-lib this movie, so I blame the writers.
Yeah.
We have Menger Zhang as Xu Xiaoling. This is Shang-Chi's little sister. This was her first movie, the actress's first movie. She was a theater actress before that.
I think I read that she hadn't done any martial arts stuff before this too.
Oh, really?
She just picked it all up.
Did she do dance? Maybe was that it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
She's pretty great in this.
Yeah.
Tony Leung. Jesus Christ. Tony Leung as Xu Wenwu. That's Shang-Chi and Xiaoling's father. He's the main antagonist.
He's so good, though.
He is good. He's the leader of the Ten Rings Army. I guess he's this big-time Hong Kong actor and singer, and it was huge. It was a huge deal to get him. I'm not cultured enough to have known that without reading about it.
I have a bunch of VHS tapes from.
Do you really?
As a kid, that he's.
Oh, so this was a really big
that
deal
I rented from Blockbuster back in the day.
Yeah. So this was really a big deal for you then.
I mean, he was definitely like, I saw him join and I was like, oh shit.
That's awesome.
Like, it was really like he was a good, like a big get for the movie, I think.
I mean, I totally understand now that was a big deal, but I didn't know who he was going in. I only found out later that was a big deal. I liked him in it, not knowing who he was, but
yeah. Like Michelle Yeoh was a huge deal too.
Yep.
But this guy, I think they're both like superstars.
Yeah.
But I remember this guy from when I was younger too.
That's cool. Fala Chen as Ying Li is Shang-Chi and Xiaoling's mother and Wenwu's wife. I don't know her. I thought she was great. That's about all I have to say on her.
That definitely didn't feel like there was enough of her.
Yes, for sure. But what there was kind of sprinkled throughout. So
yeah,
that kind of works. Michelle Yeoh plays Ying Nan, which is Shang-Chi's aunt. I love Michelle Yeoh. She is great. I love her in everything. The first thing I remember seeing her in was Super Cop, which
I remember that.
Yeah, I need to add that to the MCU adjacent list. I've been dying to rewatch that. I think I looked for it a while ago and I couldn't find it anywhere though.
Man, it's been a while.
Yeah, and it's weird. Like Super Cop is actually like some other cop named 3, Police Story. I think it's called, right? I think it's Police Story 3.
Yeah,
but
I don't even remember it, but I remember liking it.
Yeah. But
do you remember her being a Bond girl too? I think that was the first time that I saw her in American movies.
That was Pierce Brosnan as Bond, right?
Yep.
That was during that phase. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have the return of Ben Kingsley as Trevor Slattery, and I was so glad to see him in this. He's so funny, and this kind of makes Iron Man 3 worth it. Like having set up that character, and it retcons the racism a bit, and at the very least, it calls it out. And
because he's a bumbling colonial, what do you call it? A bumbling colonizer. Yes.
So yeah, every line that he has pretty much is great. And we also have Benedict Wong reprising his role as Wong. He does not have a huge part, but I love every second he's on screen. I can never get enough Wong.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can. The guy's great.
Yep. So let's get into The Legend of the Ten Rings. Strong opening. Right off the bat.
Did you fall for the misdirection?
Which misdirection?
When you first saw it?
When
oh no, sorry, wrong one. I was thinking of the first time you see Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah. Yes. I did make a note of that though. I like that. Yeah. It's pretty good. I didn't fall for it again, but I kind of was just like, oh. Anyways, we'll get to that. So strong opening, bonus points for the voiceover in Mandarin instead of English. Have faith that your audience will sit through some subtitles and maybe even read them. The narrator tells the legend of the Ten Rings. Thousands of years ago, one man found or maybe stole the 10 rings, which gave him eternal life and a lot of powers. This is Wenwu. Mm-hmm. He used the rings to conquer a bunch of territory, and he calls his army the 10 rings, which is kind of weird and confusing to me because now we have to talk about...
He has the 10 rings?
He has 10 rings, but he has the 10 rings army. And for 1,000 years, he did all this conquering, but then one day he got a boner for a lady and gave it all up.
Yes. I would still wear those 10 rings, though.
Yeah. Other than like, it was like a symbolic gesture. I'm not really sure why he took them off. I mean, maybe he didn't want to, I guess. So they gave him eternal life, essentially, right? The rings. Right. So maybe he doesn't want to live forever if the rest of his family is going to die.
Maybe did they interfere with him being able to have kids?
Maybe. So so much of this opening is really great. There's a lot of crouching tiger, hidden dragon-ness to it all. Mm. And I really like the moving forest, the bamboo forest, where you kind of get lost in it because it's always moving around on you or whatever. That was really cool.
I just like the way that the rings moved.
Yeah, everything about this is great. So then it turns out that the voiceover narrator woman is the lady that he gave it all up for. Her name is Yi Ling. She wasn't just any woman. She was from Ta Lo, where they practice martial arts from the gods. She makes Wenwu earn her love and respect. And there's this wire fu dance fighting scene, which is really cool.
This was the one that sent me this was total crouching tiger hidden vibes.
Yeah. I thought you meant that made you all emotional.
Oh, no, not yet.
Yeah, that is exactly what it made me think of. Oh, I wanted to point out that so he's fighting this woman a little bit, but it's kind of like playful, right? And so he's using the rings, and when he uses them, they glow blue. But at one point, she manages to take control of the rings and turn them against him, and at that point, they glow yellow. Mm. So I don't know if that's supposed to mean something. I
think it's something about how in harmony you are with the rings and with your environment.
Okay.
At least that's how I took it.
Yeah. But he ends up basically being the bad guy, essentially. And,
Yeah.
it's the
He
two
also got
different
his ass
colors.
whooped.
Yes. Yeah. By a lady. So long story short, Yingli made Wenwu into a good guy, and he put away the 10 rings to raise a family with her. This is exactly like when I gave up smoking for the woman who became my wife and the mother of my children. It's totally the same thing.
Really?
I did. Oh, I quit smoking because I knew she wouldn't date somebody who smoked.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, now you learned something new about me.
You did not strike me as a smoker.
Oh my God. You didn't even know that I used to smoke? I did a lot. I hope my parents don't listen to this.
And she didn't tell you? You just knew.
I just
she wouldn't
knew.
Date you.
I just knew. I was like, well, I got to quit smoking and then I will ask her out. And I was like, made sure to be like, man, I'm quitting smoking. But I did not mean it that was totally the same thing. So they end up having 2 kids. The first is a son, Shang-Chi. The second is a daughter, Xialing. This whole voiceover has been Yiling telling Shang-Chi the legend of the 10 rings and how she met his father.
Yeah.
Importantly, she says where she's from, they are empowered by the Great Protector. And equally important, just like how when Wu put the 10 rings aside, she left her power in Talo with the dragon. So you know that this isn't going to go well.
Right.
This is one of those points where I was like, how stupid am I to have not seen the end of this movie coming? They're making little paper dragons here, and she's talking about the Great Protector. So I don't know. I was surprised that a dragon shows up later.
I thought it was a symbolic dragon more than anything.
Yeah.
At the time, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like on rewatch, I was like, it's not that. It should not have been that big of a surprise to me.
Yeah.
So the scene ends with Yingli giving Shang-Chi a necklace with an emerald pendant on it, and there'll be more on that later. Then adult Shang-Chi, played by Simu Liu, is awoken by his alarm in 2023. So this is just after Far From Home, apparently. He's going by Sean now, and we'll have more on that later. He wakes up in his San Francisco apartment. He looks at a postcard that he received with a drawing of a dragon on it. Do I have a screenshot of that? No.
Of the postcard?
Yeah, I think I plan on putting a screenshot in there. You've seen the postcard, right?
Yeah.
But
it has like basically the origami dragon on it.
Right. But on the back, there's like an address and something written in Chinese. And so I took a screenshot and I sent it to my mother-in-law. I'm like, can you translate this for me? Like, it's not important, but I want to know what it says. And some of it you can tell just because it's written in English, but it's like number 18888, Avenida Nanwan, Macau Administrative Region, China. So it's just a return address essentially, but it's not a real address. Anyways, Sean goes to work with his best friend forever, Katie, played by Awkwafina, where they valet park cars at the Fairmont Hotel. But there's not romantic interest there, right?
I don't know. I was actually going to ask you this.
Okay.
So her grandma seems to think so. And her mom, I think, might think so too. But it's clear that there's no chemistry at least right now, between the two of them of that manner.
Right. And then, but at the end, we'll jump ahead here for a minute. At the end, when they're in the bar talking to their friends again, right before Wong shows up, they're like holding hands. And it's not it seems a bit romantic to me.
Oh, I didn't even notice that they were holding hands at the end.
Were the events of the movie enough to bring them together? That having been said, there's also a bunch of deleted scenes in which it's addressed a little bit. I forget if Sean ever says something about having any interest in her, but I know there's the part where Trevor Slattery is talking about the seeing Planet of the Apes. I want to get to that.
What?
We'll get to that.
That's a deleted scene?
No. Well, there's an extended part of that scene. And he starts talking to Katie, and he's like, what do you want? And he's kind of hinting at if you want something, you need to go after it. Right. And then I think there's another scene with her and Xiaoling where Xiaoling's he likes you or something like that. And she's like, I don't want to ruin the friendship. So there was a lot of it that was
Hmm.
cut out that I
Yeah.
think, I don't know if it would have cleared anything up at all. But at the end, in this movie, as it is cut for the theater, they are holding hands in that bar scene at the end.
Oh wow, I didn't even notice that actually.
Yeah.
Stupid Wong distracted me when he came in. That's probably why I didn't see it.
So, anyways, this is what you want to talk about the misdirect?
Oh yeah. So I totally. I mean, I feel like I should have seen it coming because like I don't remember him being a billionaire playboy philanthropist.
Oh, and
But when he was putting on when he was putting on his outfit, it looked like he was putting on a suit and everything.
Yeah, he's getting dressed up.
Yeah, and when the sports car pulled up and the door opened and he stepped out, it wasn't him, and it was him that was catching the keys.
Yes.
that did kind of throw me off for a little bit.
I like that.
Even though I was like, yeah.
I like that every time though. It's great, you know.
Yeah. It was in a pleasant way.
I remember in the theater actually watching that, and then the guy steps out and it's just totally some other dude, and he throws the keys and it's Sean who catches him. That's great.
Right.
Then we get a little bit of a backstory about the two of them, Sean and Katie, over a kind of double date with a married couple out at a bar. And again, I think that Sean and Katie are just friends at this point. But did you recognize the wife here? Her name's Sue.
Is she the one from Everywhere? Yep. Oh, I forget the name of that.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah. That's her, right?
Stephanie Shu. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's great in that.
Yes, she was. Yeah. That was a good movie too.
It was good. That was one where
it was a little overhyped for me.
But so I knew nothing about it going in, and I remember in the theater for like the first half or 2/3 of it going, this might be the best movie I've ever seen in my life. I was like so into it and so entertained, and then like I kind of fizzled out towards the end, but I still really liked it. And every time I rewatch it, I like it less and less. I'm like, ugh. I do like it. It's still a good movie. It's still worth watching, but it's just really weird, like opposite movie experience for me, where I usually have to watch something a few times to enjoy it fully. And every time I watch that one, I'm like, I don't want to finish it.
Yeah. I think I pushed off seeing it because everybody was talking about how great it was. And then by the time I saw it, I hadn't escaped from just all the hype around it. And so when I saw it, I was already trying to temper my expectations, and I couldn't, and then it just didn't live up to my expectations at that point.
Well, sorry, I was probably one of the people who was talking it up. Let's see, they're in the bar. Sean and Katie, are lifelong friends from school, and Katie is always getting him into trouble.
Would you be on? I mean, would you and a girlfriend meet up with a married couple? I mean, that just kind of seems like date-ish.
It does seem date-ish. I mean, as a married man now, probably no. But back in the day, maybe, I don't know.
I would if there was like two other girls or maybe we're another guy.
Yeah, maybe we're just stuffy and old-fashioned. I don't know.
Maybe. Just don't want to give people the wrong idea.
So the wife, Sue, is also a friend of theirs as well from high school. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know what to call this. Is this a racism gripe or a double standard gripe or a consistency gripe? I'm not sure. Sean tells a story about how some guy in high school was calling him Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm not even Korean, but Simu Liu played a Korean on that show, Kim's Convenience.
Right.
So I feel like the writer should have put a different joke in.
Wait, was Gangnam Style would that even have been out when?
I bet you that's way older than we think. You want to take a guess
really?
How old that
feels
song
like it was just around the corner.
Take a guess how old. Guess how old it is. I'm gonna say 15 years old.
Oh shit! I was about to say like
I might be going overboard there, but let's see.
I was gonna say 8, but now that I think about it, it's probably more than 10, huh?
Gangnam Style, song by Psy. It is released July 15th, 2012. So going on 13 years. I wasn't too far off.
But how old was Simu Liu's character in this movie?
I don't know. Well, if he was in high school, and that was, let's say, 2012 when it was big. So then this is supposed to be 2023 when the movie takes place. So that's another 11 years. So he's late 20s, mid 20s. Makes sense.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Gangnam. I just Man, I just did not realize that's been out for
Are you
so
feeling
long.
old yet?
I've been feeling old, man.
So, because they're irresponsible and immature, Sean and Katie stay out late drinking and doing karaoke when they have an early shift in the morning and they should have just gone home. The next morning, Sean goes to pick up Katie at her family home. I don't know if any of this is important, but I like it.
Mhm.
There's a lot of talking amongst Sean with Katie's brother and her mom and her grandmother. It seems very Chinesey. You know, it's things I've seen my in-laws do.
Very family centric.
What's that? Yeah, very family
Very
centric.
family centric.
Yeah. And I appreciate that they put some cultural background into this. Then Sean and Katie leave to go to work and they get on the bus and now the movie's about to kick off. Some other Chinese dudes on the bus want the pendant that Sean has around his neck. Although I have one problem here. How did they know he'd be on the bus? And why didn't they just get him before he got on the bus?
I just assumed they've been following him.
The fight scene would not have been nearly as cool, not on the bus, but
Right. I just assumed that they were following him
Mhm.
in this.
I guess you're a little more cornered on the bus. You can't run anywhere, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah. So
Especially in San Francisco.
yes. So Sean plays it cool until one of the guys manhandles Katie, and then he just starts picking people up. And this fight, I thought, was really well choreographed.
It was great.
Yeah. We have the return of Clev, played by Zach Cherry. That, you know, he was
Yes.
in Spider-Man telling Spider-Man to do a backflip, right?
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Clev coming at you live on the bus. I actually did take a little bit of martial arts as a youth, so I'm gonna try and grade this fight as we're going.
Oh, yeah, I like that part. That's so funny.
It's your boy Zach, and I have a black belt in Taekwondo, and I am going to rate this fight. It's an A+. I think it's up there with the Captain America, the Winter Soldier elevator scene.
Really?
Yeah,
You liked
it's
it that much?
It's up there. I don't think it's better because
Okay.
that one is just so creative with like the close quarters, cramped fighting style.
Yeah.
This one's, I think, a lot longer too, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but you know, I don't know if you can directly compare the two.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it's still close quarters.
yeah, it's one of my favorite fight scenes in all the MCU for sure.
It's great. I like it. I like the the girl on the bus who was trying to do homework
Yes.
or do her paper, and then she had her laptop shredded.
Yeah. She's like, no. He uses it to block Razor Fist's
Yes.
razor hand. Speaking of, at one point, this big Romanian dude with a sword arm, which he never calls himself Razor Fist, but he has a car that says Razor Fist on it, right? Now he gets involved, and long story short, the brake lines get cut, and the bus gets cut in half, and Katie has to steer it into a bunch of parked cars and a garbage truck to stop it.
I like the wait for my signal.
Yes, it's so great.
That's so good.
And the signal is him pulling on the stop request line.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how he was just like struggling to pull
Yes,
it.
it just like barely gets a finger up. It was so good. It's a nice little comedy detail there.
Yep.
I think I have a problem with Razor Fist's sword arm though. Where does it go? Like he like shoots out of this stump that's like like 3/4 of the way up his forearm is where
it's the lightsaber
missing.
problem, isn't it?
Yeah. But this is very clearly a solid sword. And like I even slowed it down and watched it frame by frame. And I was like, maybe it like extends in segments. And it does, but it's only like 2 segments, and one of them is super long.
Maybe his forearm has a hollow part in it.
I don't know, but like if it goes up into his arm, he would not be able to bend his elbow.
Right.
So
That's
that was my issue. Anyways, it's here I have another picture for you. It is way better than the comic, from what I could tell.
Oh yeah.
I compiled
the Razorfish
I
comic.
compiled some Razor Fist pictures from the comic. Going from
those definitely don't go into his forearm.
No, but those don't look like they retract. But
yeah,
man, that one all the way on the left is real bad. Not that the one in the middle is good.
That looks like a guy that's about to lose a gunfight.
Yeah. That's funny. So one more important detail. Right before the bus separates, the Romanian dude, Razor Fist, says to Sean, "You and your sister deserve what's coming." Now he knows that his sister's in danger. I still think that this fight is the best part of the movie. There's a lot of good stuff coming, but that was kind of the peak for me. Every time I watch it, it's still the best.
There's only one scene that I thought beat it, but I'll get to that.
Okay.
Later.
I can't wait to hear about it. Also, importantly, the Romanian dude got Sean's pendant in the fight, and I had to rewind to see when he could have gotten it, and it's right at that point where he does the thing where he pulls down with one finger the stop request, because he's got Sean in a chokehold, and you can clearly see Sean still has it on before that, and then I don't know if I saw that he doesn't have it on later on, but and
his hand probably pulled it down.
So that's when he must have got it.
I didn't ever get what he meant by like you and your sister get what you or deserve what's coming to you. Was that just a line he was saying?
Now that you say it, that doesn't. Yeah.
Why would even?
What's coming to them? You know? I'm stealing your pendant. That's what's coming to you.
Right.
There should be cops all over everyone, but there's not. So the movie goes on. Sean tells Katie what the hell was going on. He says those guys were sent by his dad, and he has to go to Macau for his sister before they do. And then Katie's going to go with him and expect him to explain on the plane. So we get a little flashback to Sean's childhood with some voiceover from Sean. After his mom died, his dad started his training, meaning Sean's training. Don't worry, we'll get to his mom dying in a little bit, or eventually. There's a training montage with a significant amount of abuse involved.
That was my childhood.
Minus the training.
Yeah. It's mostly building pain tolerance.
I guess that's not funny. I'm sorry.
I mean, I look back on it now and I'm fine. I mean, fine enough to joke about it. I definitely know kids that that aren't able to process it and move on.
Yeah. Importantly, one of the people training him and doing the physical abusing is Death Dealer, who...
Oh, that guy's so cool.
He's pretty cool. He looks kind of like a blue... I know this is not Chinese, but he looks like a blue ninja in a kabuki mask. But he's Chinese. And it kind of reminds me... You've played the... like many of the Zelda games?
No.
You've never played any of the Zelda games?
It looked like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but all right. So somebody out there is going to know what I'm talking about. He looks kind of like one of the Yiga clan in some of the later Zelda games. They have like these masks on. In the director commentary, actually, though, he said that the mask was based on Chinese opera masks, which I thought was interesting. I Googled that real quick. I was like, okay, yeah, I can see that.
You can see it.
I mean, it kind of looks like kabuki theater masks. So similar thing. Sean's sister also trains with the rope dart, which is really cool. I thought that was really
cool. Yeah,
really cool. Actually, I meant to put a picture in. I'll try to drop it into the show itself. But I was trying to figure out what that martial art weapon was called, the rope dart.
Yeah.
And so I just Googled martial arts weapons, and you get like this sort of grid of different weapons. And one of the weapons is canes. But it's got a picture from Cane's Fried Chicken. It's like the Cane's Fried Chicken logo. I was like, I don't think that's right. So I'll try to
that's
pop
super
that in.
random.
Yeah, I'll try to pop that in there. Google it real quick. I wonder if it's still like that. If you want. So she's got the rope dart. At 14, Sean gets sent to the U.S. on his first assignment. But he tells Katie that he couldn't go through with it. So he ran away. And then I think it was funny when he's like, my name's not technically Sean.
That was my favorite part of that scene.
I should also probably mention that my name's not technically Sean.
What is it?
It's Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
No, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Shang.
Shan.
Shang.
Shan.
S-H-A-N-G. Shang.
Shang.
Yeah.
You changed your name from Shang to Sean?
Yeah, I don't...
I wonder how your father found you.
I was 15 years old.
Like, of all the things you could have picked.
Yes. It makes sense, though. I mean, like, I'm sure that was foisted upon people when they,
Right.
when they came over, like when they immigrated, right?
Right.
Because stupid Americans don't understand what someone from China is saying. So they just like, that name sounds like whatever. And then that's how people end up with American names.
You mean if it was you wouldn't have switched over to Desmond Maximus?
What's that?
I don't know. I just picked like a random,
Just
overly complicated name.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I'll probably cut this because I don't want to talk about feel like I'm bragging about having a black belt. But on my black belt, it has my name written in English, and then it has these Korean letters under it.
Uh-huh.
And if you hit it with like a Google Translate, whatever, it's just the phonetic sound of my name in Korean, and it's more like Jackery.
Right.
So
it's like how do you say blue jeans in Korean? Blue jeans.
Yeah, it's basically like that. Yeah. So based on the Casino Lisboa I spied with my little old eye, they arrive in Say, Macau. They go to find Sean's sister at the Golden Dragons Club, which is some underground fighting ring, except way up in a high rise, so not underground at all.
And they run into Ronnie Chang.
Yes, I was gonna ask you if you recognize him. Real quick though, that high rise has scaffolding made from bamboo all over the place. I only mention that because it's important for later. There's a lot of great things in the scene. As you mentioned, they're first met by John, played by Ronnie Chang. Did you know who he was when you first saw this?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not. But when I rewatched it this time,
I can't remember. He was already on the Daily Show, I think.
Was he? Maybe I just hadn't been watching it.
He was also that one cousin in Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird. I wonder if why I hadn't remembered him from that. Or maybe I'm
the
forgetting
one that was
that
obsessed with name brands.
Yes. But when I watched it this time, I was like, hey, that guy's on the Daily Show now.
Yeah.
So John recognizes Sean from Clev's viral video of the bus fight. He wants Sean to fight tonight. We'll get more on that in a bit. There's a lot of cameos here. There's obviously one from Abomination fighting against Wong, and Abomination is quote unquote voiced by Tim Roth again. He's mostly growling. I like that this is followed up on in the She-Hulk show. That's totally great.
Yeah.
Did you also notice here? Did I not put this in the thing? I did.
The Black Widow assassin.
Yes, I'll get to that one second. I'm not done with Abomination.
Yeah.
So he looks pretty different in this than he did in an Incredible Hulk. So I put in.
He looks more like the
notes.
comic book in the.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They put like these these fish fins next to his ears or something.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I don't know if I picked up on that the first time I saw this, the first few times.
Oh, yes. I think I saw it in the trailer because they zoomed in on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, they made it more like the comic book.
Yep. Which I don't like that the continuity isn't preserved, but I don't hate. I mean, if it's more like the comic, and I don't love Incredible Hulk, as we know, I'm fine with this change.
It's like it doesn't make you angrier because it's one of your favorite movies.
Any chance I have to bring up the fact that I'm mad that you ranked that so high, I'm gonna do it. I also love how Wong beats Abomination.
Yeah.
He's like, Abomination's about to punch him, and he does a sling ring in front of himself and like next to Abomination's head, so he punches himself in the head.
Yeah.
That was great.
Didn't he say something like, let's see how you like it?
Yeah, something like that.
Beforehand or something?
How does it?
Or,
yeah. Let's see if you like how it feels. Something like that.
Yeah.
I also like it with that when they leave later, Wong makes a sling ring portal back to Abomination's cell that you get to see in She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
The production of this movie ended about 6 months before She-Hulk started.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so they're filmed pretty close together. So I think that's why it matches up so well. There's a bunch of low-level fights going on in this one, and I'm assuming there's a lot of Easter eggs. I picked up at least one. I think you mentioned it.
The Black Widow.
Yeah, Helen. Yeah.
One of the soldiers from Iron Man 3, wasn't it?
Yes, that's who she was fighting, right? Yeah. One of the extremists.
Extremist. I was blanking on the name. I was like, what the heck was that name?
Yeah. So and like Ronnie Chang says, like, nice one, Helen, and it's the one of the Black Widows. I wasn't sure it was one of the extremists soldiers. But in the director's commentary, they did say that, but they couldn't remember that it was called extremists. Like, it's one of the Iron Man 3 guys or whatever. Is that spiky face person somebody?
Supposedly, it's somebody in the comic book somewhere.
Okay, I couldn't find anything on that. There's the sumo guy beating the crap out of some karate guys. I don't know if he was supposed to be somebody, but he just reminded me of E Honda from.
Yeah. The slamming the smaller guy into the window. Yeah.
So Sean ends up having to fight his sister. I thought it was funny that they introduced him as the bus boy.
Yeah. And the whole, what happened to your t-shirt?
Yes. He just shrugs.
Yeah.
It's a great face.
It's the Marvel way.
Yes. This is another good fight, and I appreciated the little details, like he was getting like red marks on his chest from being kicked so much.
Yeah. There was a meme not too long after that where they remixed the fight scene and they just kept making it her kicking him in the nuts every like every 3 moves or something.
She did get him once, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the fight choreography is great.
Yeah, they spared no expense here. And I think they mixed in a bunch of different fighting styles too, which I appreciate.
Yep.
Xia Ling still has her necklace on, by the way, and she tells him that he shouldn't have come there. Then we get another little flashback to right before their dad sent Shang-Chi off, and the two of them are talking, Shang-Chi and his sister. She doesn't want him to leave her there. He says he'll be back in 3 days. And then we end the flashback, and it's the end of the fight because she knocks him out with a swift number 2 round kick to the head. Then it turns out that she runs and owns the joint. Sean warns her about the 10 rings coming for the pendant. She says she doesn't need his help. And furthermore, she doesn't know anything about the postcard that he got that he thought she sent, which is why he's there. And then with perfect timing, the 10 rings army shows up, complete with the razor fist guy.
Yeah.
Sean and Katie have to escape down the scaffolding outside the building, the bamboo scaffolding, which I guess is what they really do. They really use bamboo scaffolding in other countries.
I mean, it's a really strong...
And it grows like a weed, so might as well make use of it. And then we get another pretty rad fight at dizzying heights.
Yep.
I forgot that these guys, the 10 Rings Army, they have like taser commas. Like all their weapons, all their handheld weapons are some kind of taser, it looks like.
I just like the throwing knives with the exploding handles on them.
Oh, I don't think I missed that.
Or wasn't there like something like they threw something at the window and then
there was definitely something that blew up some windows for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to watch the part where Katie's hanging onto that bamboo that's bending way out away from the building.
Yeah.
Like I have to look away.
Rush Hour didn't make you immune to that? Because wasn't there like a scene in Rush Hour?
I haven't seen it.
1 or 2, I think, that did that to Jackie Chan.
Didn't see it. Sorry.
Oh.
I probably should. Is it good?
The first one was okay. The subsequent ones kind of blew.
I guess I would expect that.
Yeah.
So Xiaoling isn't so bad after all. She shows up to help out. She ends up saving Katie's life in the process. And then Death Dealer pops in to nab the remaining pendant from around her neck. Sean ends up fighting him and is about to kill him, but then Wen Wu shows up and stops Shang-Chi. Or Sean, however you want to refer to him.
He's such a great character. They really kind of... I feel like that was one of the missed opportunities. They just kind of killed him off in a lame way.
Death Dealer?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's... I wish he had the chance to change sides at the end. You know?
I
mean, he was the impetus for it.
Like Razor Fist.
Yeah. So Wen Wu brings everyone involved home. Note that his dad has the 10 rings on again. Sean's dad wants him to take his place by his side. He has a line where he says that he's been referred to as the Warrior King, Master Khan, and the most dangerous man on earth. Are those like some kind of Easter eggs or something?
No. I think, but like it wasn't Genghis Khan, just I think in general considered
that
a military
Khan.
genius.
I gotcha. Well, all right, so that was the one thing I did find was that Master Khan is the foe of Iron Fist and Namor. Now this is just in the comics, I believe, but I don't know.
I don't remember.
Okay, never mind. Wenwu has become obsessed with contacting their mother in the afterlife. He thinks she's waiting in a sealed cave in the mountains protected by tallow. He says her spirit told him so. Then he uses the pendants as eyes in a dragon sculpture. I thought that this was cool. It's like a 3D water sculpture animation thing.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, it was pretty decent effects, and it shows how to get to tallow. And he says that the time to do so is 3 days from now. So Shang-Chi, Katie, and Xiaoling are all locked up in some room. They hear some weird noises, and upon investigating, this is where they find Trevor Slattery. So once again, I was happy to have Iron Man 3 redeemed a bit.
Right.
Trevor recaps the whole Mandarin thing, acknowledging the less than culturally sensitive portrayal of the Mandarin. He also has a pet named Morris, which it looks like a 6-legged winged dog with no head, or 2 butts even.
Yeah, I just thought it looked like a furry turkey.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to put it. So So
did you like Morris?
I liked Morris. Yeah, you didn't like it. I mean,
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about him because I'm just like, did they just kind of throw this in as what? But I guess that Morris led them to Talo.
Right. So I don't. This is gonna potentially be of interest to you.
Yeah.
That's a creature from Chinese mythology.
Oh yeah. I think I remember them saying something like
all
every
the creatures
creature there.
Yeah, all the creatures are from Chinese mythology. So I've seen it called the Dijang, and I've seen it called Hundun. I'm not sure if that's in like Cantonese versus Mandarin or just 2 different names for it in Mandarin.
What is Morris? I guess what is Morris's fellow? What's it called? What do they signify anything, or do they?
I don't know. I didn't look into that.
Okay.
I was just like, oh, this is like from Chinese mythology. That's interesting, and that's as far as I took it. Sorry.
Oh. Okay.
But it turns out that, as you said, Morris knows the way to Talo.
Yeah.
And then I love it when Trevor's like,
Morris says it can guide you there right now. You can get through the maze without waiting for the path to open. But, and it's a big but, it's very dangerous.
How dangerous?
No one's ever made it out alive. But Morris is 90% confident he can guide us through safely. Oh, 19%!
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, laughing gleefully at that.
Yeah. I also like that they were getting there in Razor Fist's
I keep calling him that too.
Car.
Yeah. Just one more note before that. That is my next note. So Shaolin breaks them out, and they steal the Razor Fist car, which is some sort of EV,
right?
That says Razor Fist on it in big letters.
It's very fitting for him, personality wise.
I feel like he wouldn't fit in that car. It's so small though. So we get a good car / motorcycle chase. I'd forgotten how many chases were actually in this movie. Chases and fights.
Yeah.
Not a complaint. Morris is able to guide Xiaoling and Shang-Chi and Katie and Trevor through the bamboo forest maze thing. But before that happens, they're just waiting for the right time to enter the forest, waiting for Morris to tell them it's time to go. And Trevor tells the story of seeing Planet of the Apes as a kid. I love this part. It's one of those totally unnecessary moments, but I love that it's in here. And he says he's talking about how he was talking to his mom about it after
the film. I asked her, how did they get those monkeys to do those things? And she patted me on the head and she said, it's not real, pet. It's just acting. That's when I knew. If they can teach those monkeys to act that brilliantly, just imagine what I could bring to the world.
So you became an actor because you thought the monkeys were actually...
Riding horses, I did, yes. When in fact, they were simply acting as if they were riding horses. I still can't get my head around it, to be honest.
That was his understanding of it. And his delivery on that line is so good. So the trip through the bamboo forest gets a little hairy, but they make it. They drive through a waterfall and come out a water sling ring, it looks like. into Ta Lo. And there's lots of other mythical beasts here. We have a phoenix, which is called a Feng Huan. So just a fiery bird if you don't know what a phoenix is. There's a nine-tailed foxes, which are Huli Jing, which is a fox spirit. I'm sure I'm saying this super white, by the way. There's this weird dragon horse looking thing called Chi Lin, and these giant lions with very styled manes called Shishi. And those were the only ones I noticed. I don't know if there were more, but
I didn't know their names, but
I didn't know their names either. I had to look it up.
I did notice the nine-tailed fox.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. But yeah, they all looked. I mean, no, they all look good. They didn't look overly CG. I mean, they're obviously CGI.
For
but
how crazy some of them are, they did manage to make it look fairly realistic.
Right.
So once again, at this point, I should have known that there was going to be some even bigger mythical shit coming up, like a dragon.
Right.
Shang-Chi handles introductions in Ta Lo. Michelle Yeoh is his aunt, his mom's sister, obviously. Shang-Chi explains that they don't have much time. Their father, Wenwu, is coming. Michelle Yeoh gives him a little bit of backstory on Ta Lo. Since there's not much time, let's have some backstory. The people of Ta Lo have been there for over 4,000 years, preparing for something they hope will never happen. They are the keepers of the Dark Gate, and there's an evil locked behind it. This is the gate that Wenwu wants to open because he thinks he hears his wife's cries for help from behind it.
Yep.
That's actually pretty sad and tragic. You know,
it makes him one of the best. He's probably one of the best villains in the MCU, I think.
It's totally understandable motivation. Yeah. Like, this is the love of his life that he is being lied to about. You know, he thinks that she's trapped behind this gate, you know?
I was just thinking that this is it has very Guardians of the Galaxy 2 feels to it, but less comedic. Like, it's just sad.
Yeah.
Like, because the father-son dynamic, and except that in Guardians, the dad's kind of a douche, or the dad is a douche, and this guy is just wants to get his wife back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good motivation for the character.
Yeah.
So anyways, Auntie Nan talks about Ta Lo's realm stretching far beyond.
The realm of Ta Lo stretches far beyond the shores of our small village. We have cities that surpass any in your universe, rich with culture and history.
Which I thought was really interesting, and I want to know more about.
Is it a multiverse? Or
that's kind of what I'm wondering. Touching? I don't know. So I'm hoping that's at least touched on in any kind of a sequel.
Or is it just another dimension parallel to their branch?
Or I mean, do they have cities on other planets even? You know, I don't know. Yeah. So long story short, the Dweller in Darkness wiped out a bunch of the people. She says that they were decimated. The Great Protector stepped up and he drove the Dweller in Darkness and its army behind the Dark Gate and locked it. Ta Lo's people have guarded the gate ever since, and they're empowered by the magic of the Great Protector. P.S. They also have weapons and armor made from dragon scales, which is pretty dope. Sean gets a lesson in how his mom was able to beat his dad in hand-to-hand combat as another well-choreographed dance fight between him and Michelle Yeoh. In another flashback, Shang-Chi remembers his mom training him. His dad is away on business, and then some bad mofos show up. It's the Iron Gang, and they want revenge for something Wenwu did that doesn't get into specifics.
I mean, he did have a couple of 1,000 years to be a dickass.
Yes, so they're clearly not happy with him.
Yeah.
Yingli valiantly fights them all without hesitation, but ultimately she gets killed, and that's why Wenwu is so bitter and whatnot. He thinks that if he hadn't taken the rings off, no one would have dared try anything. And I think he's right.
He also blames Shang for not protecting his wife,
and
right?
The way I remembered it, he blamed him like immediately, but I don't think he says anything until like near the end, when they're fighting in front of the gate, and he's like, why didn't you protect her?
Yeah.
Right.
But I think it's one of those like deep-seated, like deep down, he didn't, it's not his fault, and he didn't mean to just stand there and watch. He's a kid, right?
Yeah. All right. So I was thinking it was something that he always felt and was holding it in, and he finally said it. But
Yeah, I mean, I think psychologically, like he knows it doesn't make sense, but he does blame Shang for it.
Yeah. Yep. Wenwu brings his son to avenge his wife's death. This is still in the flashback. And I like the way this scene is done. There's good use of the mirrors for framing the various shots when he's fucking people up. So it turns out that the assassination that Shang-Chi was supposed to carry out, but he said he couldn't go through with, was the man responsible for his mother's death, at least according to his dad. Except that he did go through with it. And that's the end of the flashback. Well, they don't show him go through with it, but he's narrating it as he's telling Katie this, and says, I did actually go through with it. And now he says he has to kill his dad. So Wenwu shows up in Talo with his men. I appreciate that they didn't waste time showing them go through the bamboo forest. Like, we've seen how the bamboo forest works. We know that he knows the path. We can put it together.
I feel like I would get lost still.
Oh, absolutely.
Unless he had like his iPhone and he was recording.
Yeah. I need Morris.
Yeah.
I really like the uniforms that Shang-Chi and Xiaolin got.
Yeah.
Those look really sweet.
Because it is the same armor, right? As
So that
folks.
was actually a question I had. So Sean's shirt anyway is red, like it has the dragon scales.
Mm.
But Xiaolin's, she's just dressed in like black and white. It looks cool as hell, but it clearly doesn't have any dragon scales on it. So I don't know if Sean's is dragon scale or if it's just like beads or something. I don't remember it like having that shimmeriness that some of the like dragon scale armor does and stuff.
Yeah.
But it looked cool. They were cool uniforms. What follows is a pretty long fight with some dialogue and such here and there. All of it is good, and it doesn't get boring. But I don't think we should try to describe it in detail.
I think the only part I had a problem with was that Katie, I mean, she'd never done like archery before, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she was just like crazy proficient at it and could hit everything.
Yeah. I mean, I agree
was having
with
a
you.
hard time with that.
I agree with you. I could let it go. I'm like, yeah, some people are natural, but then like, and I don't really know that much about archery, but I could swear that when she, and I'm skipping ahead here for a second, but when she has that like that critical shot on the Dweller in Darkness, I'm pretty sure her form was terrible.
Yeah.
The way she was holding it.
Because that was like a one in a billion shot. And it reminds me of actually the Hobbit when they were trying to hit that scale, hit the one opening under the dragon's like belly.
I don't remember it. I watched it once and was barely paying attention, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, that was just a really hard shot, and that guy was an expert.
So there was a few highlights I had, and you jump in with some if you have some. First of all, Shaolin with the rope spear is awesome. That's just like a really cool weapon. I kind of want to learn it, but I'm sure I'd do it. Stab myself in the foot.
I don't know that your wife would appreciate all the things that would break as a result.
I would fire the gardener, and I can just trim all the trees and bushes and cut the grass that way.
You could just go to a public park and practice.
Cops won't show up for sure. There's a cool moment when Sean deflects all the rings with his bow staff while he's fighting his dad. I like that. At one point, Wenwu blasts Shang-Chi into the middle of the lake and he starts to drown. Then Wenwu goes to the sealed cave and he starts busting it open with the rings. I thought it was really cool when he puts... you know what I'm talking about, right? Where he puts all 10 rings on one arm and then like super punches the gate. I thought it was cool. It's just like... He gives it the old college try with one hand first, and then he like smacks his hands together and just transfer over. That was awesome.
I think whenever Wenwu uses the rings, you can tell he's experienced with it.
Yeah, he's got a few thousand years of experience. So he hits the gate, and it cracks it enough for some things to start crawling out, and they're pretty unsettling to look at. I guess they're soul eaters. They're called. It's like a demon bat squid kind of thing.
I kind of feel like my tryptophobia got tripped a little bit
from the gate,
on the surface of the gate. Yeah.
I can see
and then they started coming out and it left all those pock marks.
I didn't even think about that. That's funny. Sorry. So upon seeing the Soul Eaters, Xiaoling says,
Those things are gonna kill us all if we don't work together.
You think I'm going to fall for that?
Your weapons are useless against them.
We don't need your help. We are the mighty Ten Rings.
and one of them sucks the soul from the Death Dealer, which is kind of a bummer to see
that
him
was
go
the,
like
that
that.
was the part I hated. I was
Yeah.
like, no, not like all of that coolness and badassery in the beginning, and then
You got
one
taken out
tiny
like a
little
chump.
bat thing. Yeah.
But then Razor Fist calls an audible and says,
We should work together. Release them. Release them.
it's also really cool how the movie demonstrates the Soul Eater's invincibility to regular weapons. Somebody cuts it with a sword and like it'll cut in half, but then it kind of like strings back together and heals really fast. I thought that was cool.
I like the other animals attacking them.
Yes, yeah, that was
That's
also
pretty-
cool because they're magical. They can take them out.
Yep.
At some point, someone explains that the Soul Eaters steal souls to feed the Dweller in Darkness so it can grow strong enough to break through the gate. So shouldn't they be called the Soul Stealers or something? Because they're not
Or
eating
soul
them.
feeders.
Yeah. But yeah, I was supposed to say they don't like Mama Bird regurgitate souls into the Dweller in Darkness's mouth, right?
Yeah.
Even in the commentary, they were like, "What are these things called? Soul suckers?" They couldn't remember. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the lake, Shang-Chi comes face to face with the Great Protector, a traditional Chinese serpentine dragon. And then the Great Protector starts doing some great protecting, and he's chomping on some demon bat squids.
Yeah, that could have come off really wrong. Like not wrong in a, like just bad. Like the long Asian dragons compared to like the Lord of the Rings type dragons.
Yeah.
Like they always look kind of different to me. Just like,
they're totally
just
different.
different in their own style. But like I didn't know how that would actually translate like flying and stuff.
It works
through
out
the
pretty
air.
good here.
Yeah.
I like it. Could you imagine though if they had been like, no, we need a more traditional dragon.
That would have been disappointing.
Yeah. Or I guess a more European American or European traditional dragon. I don't know. I presume that these
Medieval
dragons,
dragon.
there you go. I presume that the Chinese dragons predate any of the medieval dragons.
Right.
Anyways, so the fight between good and evil goes on for a while. Again, not a complaint. It's good, just not something worth talking about in great detail. You should really watch this if you haven't.
Mm.
So Shang-Chi has to fight his dad again, and it's pretty cool again. He eventually, Shang-Chi that is eventually able to take control of 5 of the rings, and their glowing color changes from blue to yellow when he has them. And now the fight really gets cool. There's a lot of creative fight choreography, I thought, in that section where they each have 5 rings. They're going against one another. And let's see. Shang-Chi eventually gets control over all the rings, but he spares his dad's life and he throws the rings down. This is the part where I got kind of goosebumpy and, close to teary-eyed.
I have to save her. She's calling to me. I wish that were true.
I'm getting goosebumpy talking about it. Unfortunately, his dad realizes too late that his son was right because the Dweller in Darkness breaks free and sucks up his soul.
But not before he transfers everything.
Yes, he gives Sean all the rings. I also thought it was pretty funny. It was like right before that happens, and this giant squid dragon thing breaks out, and Sean just goes, "Shit."
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
So there is some good news for Shang-Chi. The rings are his now, and it's mostly a fight between the Great Protector and the Dweller in Darkness from here on out. So you didn't watch the deleted scenes?
No.
Okay. Somewhere in here, there's a deleted scene where I'm so glad this came out.
Oh.
Trevor Slattery is riding Morris, or like a different Hundun that's huge or something. He's riding this winged, 6-legged, no-headed thing.
Yeah.
And he's fighting with a sword of some sort, like a bad analog of Valkyrie, essentially.
Okay. Like a comedy version.
Yeah. It was still like, it must have been cut somewhat early because the VFX were still very crude, but he was just like flying through like cutting up all the soul eaters and stuff. And oh man, it was really bad. I can't believe that was ever in the script.
Was it as bad as whenever I think about stuff like that, was it as bad as that scene in True Lies when Jamie Lee Curtis drops the Uzi and it just randomly kills all the terrorists?
Yeah, I mean it's that level of. I think it's worse than that. I do hate that scene though. That really bothered me. I'm like, come on, like it should take out like one or two, okay, but it's like because all of them, I hated that.
Okay, it's probably good that they kept it up then.
Yeah, oh for sure. Go back and watch it later, and you'll know what I mean. So there's a lot of fighting between the Dweller in Darkness and the Great Protector, and I feel like there are points when the VFX grasp goes beyond its reach, where especially where Shang-Chi and Xiaoling are riding the dragon, it starts to look a little bad there. But overall, the whole sequence is pretty good.
Yeah,
very cool, really. And it got me again a little bit when there's basically a tug of war between the Dweller in Darkness and Shang-Chi, and Xiaoling is basically the rope. Right?
Oh yeah, I remember that thing, yeah.
And he tells her, "I'm not leaving you again." Right? That got me a little bit. And then in the climax, the visual effects go way over the top, but I like it. Borderline love it. It's super cool. Shang-Chi like blasts the rings down the Dweller's throat, and then he sets them on puree, and then it's lights out for the Dweller.
That's the part I was talking about. The part of the fight that I like.
Okay, that's your favorite part. Yeah. It's really cool. I really, really appreciated the chunkiness of the explosion.
Yeah, because he flew up, or he didn't fly, but he like jumped up really high, and then blasted it down.
Yeah,
right while he was falling down.
Yeah, and then as he's falling, he's doing all these movements with his hands, making the rings spin around. It was really cool. That's a great moment. And then it explodes and there's pieces of it everywhere. It was a really satisfying explosion. After the final battle, there's a scene where everyone lights lanterns and floats them on the lake in memory of the people who lost their lives fighting. And that also got me a little bit.
Yeah.
The denouement here, I use that word too much, but sorry. That's what it is. There's another bar scene like earlier on. Sean and Katie are telling same friends that they were out with before about what happened. Importantly, Sean says that Xiaoling is supposed to be shutting down her dad's operations. We'll have a little bit more on that in a bit.
Right.
Their little get-together is interrupted by Wong popping through a slingling portal. He needs to talk to Sean and Katie about the rings.
Right.
And this better get followed up on in a sequel.
I hope so, because I didn't realize, because a part of me was like, wait, why would you need Katie?
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I mean, I'm not going to boycott the movie if she's not in it, but I would like to have. Right. I would rather have her completely not be in it than have them recast it. You know,
I don't want them to recast her. I just want to I just don't see why Katie had to go with him and Wong.
Yeah, I don't know.
She already got really lucky with that one.
Because she's lucky with that
one archery shot.
So this is the part where like they're holding hands for a second there. So I think that they're together now, but I'm not sure. I also like, this wasn't really, I don't know if this was on purpose or what, but I like the little detail that you hear the sling ring portal sound and like you're kind of seeing over Sue's shoulder.
Yep.
And she's like saying like, I don't believe you. And she's doing this circular motion with her hands. And then you hear the sling ring sound and it kind of goes with the motion that she's making. I thought that was cool.
Wait, Wong is everybody in the world knows who Wong is, right?
I think so.
Yeah, because he's the Sorcerer Supreme now.
Yes, he has guacamole and sour cream.
Yeah.
So we have a mid-credit sequence. We don't have to wait for a sequel to get a little bit more on what was happening there. Wong is examining the rings with Bruce Banner and Carol Danvers. That's Captain Marvel, if you forgot. Trying to determine their origin. I didn't understand the beacon thing, though.
I did not.
Yeah, they were like, there's a beacon coming from somewhere because Sean used the rings or something. So the only thing I could think of is maybe it's one of the other civilizations that Michelle Yeoh was talking about.
I don't know.
I have no idea. Well, hopefully that gets followed up on.
But also the Hulk was not Professor Hulk.
Oh, yeah.
It was Bruce Banner.
Importantly.
Yeah.
Was his arm in a sling? It was, right?
It was. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't realize it until the second time I saw it. I was like, oh, wait.
What? Okay. All right. Interesting.
Because this was still when they were trying to get the multiverse to take off, right? So
yeah.
Like I would have thought it would have been Jonathan Majors, Kang's beacon.
Oh, yeah.
Calling for help to get out of the Quantum Mania.
Could have been.
But like that's would they have been able to detect that?
I don't know.
Or was it responding to the rings? Or I hope they answer these questions.
That scene ends with Sean and Katie and Wong all doing karaoke after he suggested they have a lot of work ahead of them. They should go home and get some rest.
But we could, or
yes. And then we have a post-credit scene because she's a boss, not a worker, bitch. Xiaoling is ramping up the Ten Rings army again. So I hope the sequel isn't just Sean having to fight his sister. Like I think it's fine for a setup, but I don't want it to be just them one against the other. I don't know.
Well, like how does she stand a chance?
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't have the 10 rings. She has the 10 rings,
right.
but not the 10 rings.
Maybe, I mean, I could see if maybe he gave her 2 and he kept 8.
Maybe. That's Shang-Chi. I totally forgot to do changes. Do I have any changes? I don't really have changes. I mean, maybe punch up some of those jokes.
Yeah, I think the only things, I mean, it's definitely not Awkwafina's fault. I think it's the writers were they were just really awkward with Katie and Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're just friends and just act like friends. Then just be friends.
Yeah, I guess I would like a little more clarity there.
Yeah.
Or not have them holding hands for that like 1 second at the end scene. I don't know. They cut everything else out.
Are they planning? I mean, maybe in part 2, they're planning on having them get together or build up to getting together. But like, if they're just friends, then
do you think there's a lot of Sean and Katie shippers?
Yeah, they're like her grandma, like asking him when he's going to marry her and stuff, and then that holding hands at the end.
Yep. Anyways, all right. Yeah, I don't think nothing that we talked about stands out in my mind right now as something that needs a change, really, right?
No. Could have been better.
Yeah.
Could have been better handled. But I think I watched it several times and I liked it more, I think, each time.
I like it more each time too.
Yeah.
Especially the second half of it. All right, so then let's move on to ranking. Do you have any? I have just a couple of thoughts, I guess, related to the ranking. So,
sure. How about you go first this time?
All right. Recall that I don't like magic.
Yes. Yes.
But if we're gonna have magic, I prefer my mystics to be white. So my ceiling right now is below Doctor Strange. Just kidding.
I was gonna say, like, whoa, that drops it, and I started looking all the way.
No.
We're on the list.
Total joke. I didn't mind the magic in this one. It's kind of more like mystical legend stuff than what you get in Doctor Strange. So I'd go so far as to say it wasn't a detractor for me at all. Like the most egregious thing I think is that the rings magically change size to fit whoever's wearing them. It fits their forearm like snugly, right? When you take them off, they're all the same size. But what else are you gonna do?
Right.
So as to where it goes in the ranking, I think this is a B tier movie. Where do you think?
Okay. I don't disagree.
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, at least we're in the same area, but where in the B tier?
Right. Okay.
Is what I'm curious about.
B tier is pretty big.
It is. That's kind of why.
I started it narrow and I really widened it out the more I thought about it. So to me, my floor would be new number 16. That's the lowest I would go. And I would still make that B. That would be the bottom of the B tier, above Black Widow, below Avengers. And my ceiling, I think, is 9. Would be new number 9, which would be pretty high B tier, and put it above Black Panther. I have trouble deciding if it's better than Black Panther. I have trouble deciding if it's better than a lot of these in that range. But that was kind of like my extremes. So I'm pretty sure it is better than 16. It's probably not as high as 9, but I'd like to hear what you have to say.
I actually have it as better than Black Panther.
Okay. All right.
So it's just shy of Captain America, the first Avenger. I think mostly because whenever I think about the CGI in that last part of the last half of Black Panther,
Oh yeah, that is really bad.
It really pisses me off.
And it's almost all extremely good here.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's really considering like how bad the flying dragons could have been.
Yeah,
and how lame it could have just looked. The CGI is great.
Yeah, I mean, there's
my
really only
one real big gripe is just the way they handled Death Dealer's death.
Yeah,
and like that's not.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, I will also say that, like this movie, the more I watch Black Panther, the more I like it. But I was a little down on it the first time I watched it. And this one I've always liked. All right, so let me think. What else is before I agree? I think I definitely like it better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah,
and Thor Ragnarok and Age of Ultron. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's basically does it go above or below Black Panther for me? And I think with the argument that you've made,
also I like the antagonist way better in this one.
Yeah, I agree
because I do like Michael B. Jordan's his villain, but his villain's kind of like, okay, so your answer is just to be the asshole because everybody else is an asshole.
Yeah, he needs to get on the "Am I the Asshole" Reddit thread. Yeah, and this is much more.
I can not relate, but I understand. Like it's more powerful to me.
Yes, it's a much more understandable motivation.
Oh man, my wife's gonna hate this episode.
Totally,
again.
yeah. Especially because I'm just about to say, I think I agree with you that it is the new number 9 above Black Panther. So we'll disagree someday, but that day is not today.
I was sort of like, ooh, I wonder which when you were like, you're curious where I would stand. I was like, I'm kind of curious where you're going to stand too, because I definitely think it's, after watching it and then looking at the list, I was like, oh, it's definitely like, I see where Black Panther is, and I'm like, okay, my real question is it better than Captain America? And I can't quite get myself there.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I agree. Same.
Because right after Captain America is Iron Man, and I don't. Iron Man's such a hard hurdle to beat.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the Rotten Tomatoes, but it's pretty well received. 79% with critics, 78% with the audience.
That's not
so. I think that's a little low, but they're in agreement. So whatever.
Yeah.
Here's the Rotten Tomato scores. Critics have it at 92%. With an average score of 7.5 out of 10. That's all critics. I think it was slightly lower for top critics. And the audience has it at 92% with 4.5 out of 5. So pretty good. Maybe a little high, but I don't know. I think that's pretty reasonable. That makes Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the new number 9.
So as the new number 9, that doesn't bump the Avengers into the C tier, does it?
No, I wouldn't say so. No.
Okay.
Like once you have a letter grade, you keep it.
Okay.
I think there are some people when they do tiers, like, well, you have to have a certain number of this and you have a certain number of that. I mean, ours is actually looking like a pretty good bell curve.
Right. Well, because I'm really curious, because I would feel pretty defensive about anything in the S tier getting bumped off.
Right. No, I think like once you've been tiered, that's your tier for life.
Because that's a good S tier.
That's a great S tier.
Yeah,
it's a great S tier. That means Infinity Saga Trivial Pursuit Poker is just for fun. It is my turn to bid first, and let's go ahead and read.
You both have a long journey ahead of you. Go home, get some rest.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we probably should do that. Or
okay, let me know when you're ready for me to bid.
I think I'm ready.
Okay. I don't think I know any of these.
Really?
Yeah, if we were playing for real, I would bluff, but I got a guess on some of these, so I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
But feel free to outbid me.
I think 3.
Okay, that's a good bid. I'm going to let you answer. Let me, yeah, I'll let you answer. I got to find the answers.
I think.
It doesn't matter. So
Yeah,
you should show off if you can. Let's see. Answers. All right. The first question. Ultron claimed there have been over how many extinction level events before the dinosaurs perished?
Oh, actually, I don't know this one. None?
No. I would have guessed this one right. 12.
A dozen? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was like kind of a stab in the dark, but I don't know.
Okay.
What project did Melina Vostokov reveal the North Institute had been involved with 20 years earlier?
The Black Widow program?
Oh, that would make sense. No, the Winter Soldier Project.
Oh, the Winter Soldier
I didn't have
project.
a guess.
Huh?
Yeah, that sounds familiar now. Oh, right, of course. Yeah. What pet peeve does Happy Hogan tell the U.S. Marshal that Tony Stark has?
He doesn't like things being handed to him.
That's correct. I did not know that one. Very good.
That was Rooney Mara as the U.S. Marshal.
Which
with the summon.
What? Oh, and Iron Man 2 was that?
Yeah, first. Yeah, Iron Man 2.
Yes,
right after the Stark thing.
Goes to court and Justin Hammer's there and all that, right?
Yeah.
What item does Peter Quill try to find for Rocket to keep Groot from pushing the death button on the detonator?
Tape.
Yeah, that's another one I had a strong guess on.
Oh.
I would have got
that was
right.
The one I was like, oh, you for sure you would have had that one.
I wasn't like 99% sure. I was like, but wasn't he looking for something else as well? He was like, does anybody have any this or some tape? And then somebody's like, I have tape. Right. Or I don't know, there's a funny line in there. I'm not going to waste time trying to think of it.
Remember it? Yeah.
What does the Ancient One say meets at the root of existence?
I don't know. This one I didn't know.
I had no idea either. Mind and matter.
Mind and I
don't remember that line.
That sounds like a philosophical answer.
I'm sure it was.
Right? Like to exist, you have to be aware of your existence type thing.
I guess. What secret program led to the creation of Hulk?
The Super Soldiers program?
Super Soldier program. Yep, that's correct. You got your 3. I was gonna be like the Gamma program. I don't know.
Oh, I could have pushed for the new number 9, the new number 8.
That's right. It wouldn't have mattered if I just disagreed, I guess. So there, George's wife. All right. That's it for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Next up for Series 1 is Eternals from November 5th, 2021.
I'm curious if you're going to like this one after seeing it again.
I've restarted it already. Yeah.
How are you liking it
30
so
minutes
far?
in. It's as I remember, pretty much. Although I'm like, there's a lot of characters and this is a long movie. Yeah. We'll see if I'm still liking it by the end. I'm guessing C tier. Probably low C tier. I don't know.
Ooh.
Well, you disagree?
I don't know, but definitely not higher than the mid B.
Oh, really? You think it's that good, huh? Okay. Well, I'm not done with it.
Mostly because I'm still curious if watching it's gonna push me over to liking it more than the Avengers.
Okay, interesting. I mean, it basically is its own Avengers movie.
Yeah.
If you want to contact us, you can email us at absolutelythebestpodcast@gmail.com. You can join our Discord. There's a link in the show notes. We've been pretty active on it lately. Come hang out, join in the conversation. We also have links there, links in the show notes to our socials and a couple ways you can help support the show. The best thing you can do is to leave us a review. Please help us spread the word. Tell your friends, tell a DJing, and tell a soul eater. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Bye.
Absolutely the Best Podcast is a production of Audio Johnny, a subsidiary of Corporation Johnny.
Corporation Johnny. If it exists, we own it.
Shit.